Winning Blueprint presents.
In the lab room, the market. Green Bay Packers.
Welcome to the market. You're in the lab room. I'm your host, Lou. Thank you for joining me. Welcome to the market, the NFL's one-stop shop for all positions related to the field, otherwise known as free agency. This is where teams come to get better, to fill voids, to fill empty holes in their roster. And free agency is the platform which teams help themselves get better. You don't build your team through free agency. You do that with the draft. You help supplement your roster through free agency. And today, a team like the Green Bay Packers, who we will be talking about, will look to do just that, as they have several different areas of need on their team. Speaking of needs, this is a comprehensive list of every single free agent available on the market in the 2013 free agency period. And so I've used that list of players to help the Green Bay Packers try and make some decisions on what they need to help upgrade their roster. And I'll also use my trusty, handy-dandy big board, as this board has every single team in the National Football League on it. And among the topics on this board are notable free agents that are in-house for teams to have to re-sign. And the Packers are no different than the other 31 teams around the league. They have restricted and unrestricted free agents that they have decisions to make on whether to bring back or allow to walk away. Also, positions of need for the Green Bay Packers. They have positions that they need to fill. And so the Packers will be looking to fill these positions. And I have a list of players that I think will help them fill those positions. So let's start talking about the Green Bay Packers and what I think it will take for the Packers to help fill some of these voids. The first topic that we will discuss is the in-house free agents. And it's not a list of every single free agent that the Packers have, just the notable ones, the ones that I think are most important. And so we'll go over the whole list of notable free agents, and then we'll break them down one by one and talk about whether the Packers will retain these free agents or allow them to walk away. And I'll give you my opinion as to whether the Packers should keep these free agents or allow them to walk. So here are the Packers' notable free agents: Cedric Benson, Ryan Grant, Greg Jennings, Brad Jones, Eric Walden. Here are some restricted free agents: Tom Crabtree, Evan Dietrich Smith, and Sam Shields. So those are your free agents for the Green Bay Packers. So we start with Cedric Benson and Ryan Grant. Let's just package these guys together. I think neither one of these guys should be back in Green Bay in the 2013 season. If you're the Packers, you got to stop with all these aging veteran backs that don't have anything left or can't get it done or can't stay healthy. You've had a smorgasbord of running backs for the last 2 or 3 seasons. You've been just putting guys back there in the backfield. It worked for you in the 2010 season when you won the Super Bowl, when James Starks emerged and got you into the Super Bowl and put together a nice postseason. But you got to stop with this. You got to actually go out and get a running back. There are several running backs that can help you. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But neither Benson nor Ryan Grant should be back for you in the 2013 season. Look at Greg Jennings. Here's a guy that we know he won't be back. He's gone. He put his house up for sale in Green Bay over the offseason. He won't be back. The Packers aren't going to pay him the type of money he thinks he deserves. And I don't think that Greg Jennings is being realistic with the amount of money he's asking for. But even if that money was a lot less, I don't think he would have been back in Green Bay anyway, because the Packers are loaded at receiver. And him getting injured showed the Packers that, hey, we really don't need Greg Jennings. It'd be nice to have him, but we don't have to have him. And coming into the season, it seemed like he was a necessity. Once he got injured and guys like Randall Cobb stepped up, he was no longer a necessity. Then he became somewhat of a luxury. And so now he's going to be allowed to test the free agent market. He will not be back with the Green Bay Packers. You look at Brad Jones, solid inside linebacker, was outside. They moved him inside. I think he's more comfortable outside, but he's inside for the Packers right now. And look, I think the Packers just need to have him back. They need depth at linebacker. I think Brad Jones is a guy that helps you keep that. I say you keep Brad Jones around if you're the Packers. You look at Eric Walden. Here's another guy that gave you depth at outside linebacker. Clay Matthews went down. You lost your first-round pick, Nick Perry, to injury. Eric Walden had to step in. He really didn't produce for you. You've been disappointed with him ever since you gave him the starting role 2 seasons ago. He didn't do anything with it. That prompted you to draft Nick Perry. If you're the Packers, you're probably feeling like, hey, we just want to go ahead and wash our hands clean of Eric Walden. I say you hold on to him. This is a very thin market at outside linebacker, especially looking for rush outside linebackers. If you're going to go in the draft again and get a guy, then that's fine. But if you're looking to address this through free agency, there's not a lot of guys that can help you, at least not at the price tag that you're probably going to be looking for. There are some guys that can get to the quarterback, but you're going to have to pay, like a Sean Phillips, like a Paul Kruger. You're going to have to pay for their services. I don't know if the Packers are looking to pay that much for someone to come in and rush the quarterback. And also keep in mind, the Packers have Clay Matthews. They have Nick Perry. I don't see them wanting to spend a lot of money on a rush outside linebacker. You need depth, and I think Eric Walden provides that for you. I say you keep Eric Walden if you're the Packers. Tom Crabtree, restricted free agent. So is Evan Dietrich Smith and Sam Shields. All of these guys I expect to be back in Green Bay. Again, restricted free agents normally are the last to go because teams don't want to fork over any draft choices to get these guys services. Tom Crabtree isn't good enough for someone to give up a draft pick for. Now, Sam Shields has potential, but again, the cornerback market is so saturated that there's no way a team is going to bypass all of the cornerbacks on the market to come and get Sam Shields and give up a pick for him. No way. The Packers are going to get every single one of their restricted free agents that are on this list back. Evan Dietrich Smith, Sam Shields, and Tom Crabtree will all be back. And Tom Crabtree has to be back because Jermichael Finley is up in the air as to whether the Packers are going to redo his deal or have to cut him. I don't know what the Packers are going to do there, but Tom Crabtree is a guy that's solid. He catches the football when you throw it to him. He can block. I think Tom Crabtree is the guy you bring back. So you look at the needs for the Green Bay Packers. And one of the first needs you think about after the offensive line is defensive end. And they've really suffered since they allowed Cullen Jenkins to walk away a couple of off seasons ago. And they've had guys be okay, but never really got the production that they got out of Cullen Jenkins. And so here's some guys that I think can help them in that department. You look at Corey Williams. He's a guy that used to play for the Packers a while back, went to Detroit. They could use Corey Williams back. You look at Glenn Dorsey, played in a 3-4 defense out in Kansas City. I'm thinking he fits more in a 4-3 defense, but again, maybe he's made that adjustment to playing in a 3-4 defense, is now more comfortable. And maybe now he's even more comfortable in a 3-4 defense than he is in a 4-3. So Glenn Dorsey could be an option. Chris Canty is a guy that I think the Packers might be targeting in free agency to get their hands on at defensive end. And another guy that you could look at is Desmond Bryant out in Oakland. He's a guy that's going to come with a very low price tag. Again, he just got in trouble just 2 weeks ago, had a run-in with the law. That might bring his stock down as well. And so you might be able to get a guy like Desmond Bryant on the cheap. You look at the running back position. I talked about this a little bit earlier. The Packers have to stop neglecting this position and thinking that they can just throw anybody in the backfield. It does not work like that in the National Football League. They're going to have to actually go out and get a running back. And there are several options available in free agency if you are the Green Bay Packers. You look at Steven Jackson and Michael Turner. These are your older options. If you're looking for a guy to just come in and give you a year or two of service, here are some older backs that are seasoned veterans that can come in and help you. But if I'm the Green Bay Packers, I want someone much younger that can tote the rock, that can be consistent, so I don't have to have 3 or 4 different backs doing different things for me. I want to have one guy come in, be solid, and have someone backing him up. And so I think that if I'm the Green Bay Packers, Sean Green or Rashad Mendenhall are guys that you should be targeting in free agency. Get one of those guys. They're young. They still got a lot left in the tank. They can run the football, tough between the tackles. They can really do some things for your offense that you haven't been able to do because you haven't had consistent running backs and a consistent running game to run the football. Now, your running back situation hasn't been good, but neither has your offensive line situation. And so you need to address that as well, and we'll talk about that here in a second. Safety. Charles Woodson is gone. And so that leaves a void at the safety position. And you're going to need at least one safety back there in coverage. And so you've got 2 guys back there now that might be vying for that spot, but I think the Packers will feel a lot more comfortable if they get a proven guy back there, a proven commodity at the safety position. Here are some names just to throw out that potentially could land in Green Bay that could help you out a lot. Louis Delmas. Chris Clemens is a guy that is very interesting. He had his best season of his career in 2012 for the Dolphins. I don't think he'll be back in Miami. He's a guy that could help you tremendously, and I think that's a guy you should target in Green Bay, as well as someone like Glover Quinn. I don't know how much the Packers are looking to spend at the safety position if they want to bring someone in, but Kenny Phillips or a guy like Patrick Chung could be an alternate option at the safety position. You're looking to spend a lot less, then you're probably looking to go after a guy like Patrick Chung or Chris Clemens. You're looking to spend a little bit more. Glover Quinn is a guy that I think you should be looking at. So you look at the offensive tackle position, and the reason I say offensive tackle is because you could upgrade the left tackle position. I think Marshall Newhouse is okay, but okay isn't good enough at the left tackle position in the National Football League. Your left tackle needs to be extraordinary, needs to be above average, and Marshall Newhouse isn't. And so I think what the Packers may end up doing is taking Brian Bulaga and moving him over to left tackle, and then they will need a right tackle. Maybe they keep Brian Bulaga at right tackle and just need a left tackle. You don't know. Here are some options at left tackle, and then I'll give them some options at right tackle as well. I'm thinking the Packers are going to take Bulaga, move him over to left tackle, and then they'll need a right tackle. In the event that they do that, here are some right tackles that can help you out and probably fit right into your price range. Gosher Charles is a guy that would fit right into your price range, as well as Phil Lodeholt. Now, if you're looking for an upper echelon right tackle, you're looking at a guy like Sebastian Vollmer or Eric Winston. Now, I don't know how much the Packers are looking to spend. Again, I don't know if the Packers are going to come into this offseason and not really try to spend a lot of money. But if they're willing to dedicate some money to this line, which they should, because Aaron Rodgers is their most prized possession, and you need to take care of him. He was on the run way too much in the 2012 season. You need to take care of Aaron Rodgers. You need to spend money on your offensive line. And if you're going to do that, a guy like Andre Smith, Sebastian Vollmer, or Eric Winston should be your man at right tackle. If you're looking for the left tackle position, if you're going to keep Bulaga at right tackle and replace Marshall Newhouse, Sam Baker or Jake Long would be options at the left tackle position. Or Jamon Bushrod. But maybe in Green Bay, you don't have a big issue with Marshall Newhouse. Maybe you're going to keep him there and keep Bulaga at right tackle. Or maybe you're going to flip-flop them, put Bulaga at left and put Newhouse at right. I don't know. But the Packers need to do something about this offensive line because it was a mess in the 2012 season. Inside linebacker. This is a position that I think you just need depth at. And if Brad Jones isn't back, you're going to need to address it. I think if you're the Packers, you should bring Brad Jones back because I think he's a solid inside linebacker. He's interchangeable. He's a guy that can play out at the edges for you as well as inside at the middle linebacker position. You need depth along that linebacking corpse. He's a guy that could give it to you. And so I think that Brad Jones, he was injured in the 2012 season, but when he's on the field, I think he's okay. He's a solid linebacker. He's a guy that I think you just need to bring back if you are the Green Bay Packers. But in the event that you don't, or you're just looking to upgrade, here's some guys that I think can help you do just that. You look at a guy like Ray Mataluga. Again, I don't know how much the Packers are looking to spend, how much they're willing to spend. Ray Mataluga is probably going to cost you a little bit of money. You're looking for some cheaper alternatives. Then you look at a guy like Jasper Brinkley or Chase Blackburn. These are all guys that can come in, start, play some really good inside linebacker for you, help you out, give you some depth. And again, if you're the Green Bay Packers, you need some depth at the linebacker position. So I think you need to keep the services of Brad Jones, but look to add someone anyway. And it doesn't have to be a starting caliber inside linebacker. It could be a guy that you're just looking to have as a rotational depth guy. And I think the Packers need more depth along that linebacking corps because a lot of their linebackers were injured in the 2012 season, including Brad Jones. And so Clay Matthews went down, Nick Perry went down, and you needed guys in a pinch. And so you need to have more depth if you're the Green Bay Packers. And that's essentially the Green Bay Packers in a nutshell. This is a team that wants to get back to their 2010 ways. And I think that the free agency step is the first one that they need to take. They need to address some of these deficiencies on their roster in free agency and then finish it off with the draft. They got to fix this line. They need to get a real running back. They need to figure out what they're going to do at safety. They need some defensive line help. So here are all their needs right here. We talked about them today. They need to address them. They got to keep Aaron Rodgers upright. They got to keep him protected. They got to open up some holes in the run game, take some pressure off of Aaron Rodgers. They just need to be better. And I think the Packers aren't that far away from returning to dominance in the National Football League. Here's your first step in doing that. And I think if they're aggressive in free agency and then they have a great draft, which they normally do, I think the Green Bay Packers could be right back where they were just 2 seasons ago in 2011 when they were one of the most dominant teams in the regular season, and 3 years ago when they were Super Bowl champions. And that's going to do it for the Green Bay Packers in the market.
Green Bay Packers, the market in the lab.